Hey guys, thanks for watching Homesteading on the Side, and tonight for dinner, let's make manicotti. So for this recipe, we are going to need some manicotti noodles, and however many boxes will depend on how much filling you have. I tend to overmake the filling and not have enough noodles, so I've got 2 boxes of noodles here just to be on the safe side. Chaos in my kitchen. I don't have any fresh Parmesan cheese, so this is all I have as far as Parmesan cheese goes, so I'm just gonna make it work. I've got salt and pepper, a package of spinach, I think this is 15-ounce jar of ricotta cheese, a pound of meat of your choice. Of course, I'm using venison. We don't have ground beef. This is what our freezer is stocked with, so I'm using a pound of venison. Maybe it's a pound and a half, just kind of somewhere in there. You can use Italian sausage if you like. You can use pork. You can use beef, chicken, turkey, whatever it is that you want in your manicotti, use it. But I've got venison here. Onion, garlic. I've got a package of tomatoes, some marinara sauce. This is my home canned marinara. You can use whatever kind of marinara that you prefer or you like. Olive oil, and then I grabbed some Italian seasoning because I find that Italian sausage is a little overpowering in this, so I like to just use plain meat and then season it myself. So I've got my pot here to cook my meat and to make my filling, and then a pot of salted water that is coming up to a boil to cook my noodles. Let's get started. So my manicotti are in, and these will cook for about 7 minutes. You want them to still have a little bit of firmness. That way you can pick them up and hold them and stuff them. But you don't want them to be to where they're not cooked through, to where they'll still be raw after you bake them. So 7 minutes or so, and those will be done. Olive oil's heated up, and I'm going to add my onions and garlic with a touch of salt and get it to soften. And then I'm going to brown my meat. If you are using a fatty meat, go ahead and drain the fat when it's done. We don't add any extra fat when we grind our deer, so it's very lean. And then salt and pepper the meat once it gets in the pot. So my noodles are done draining before my meat's ready. And what I like to do is take them out of the strainer. I've still got a couple down there. See, this is why I do 2 boxes, because I have some that always inevitably do that. So strain them, and then I put them on a piece of parchment with a little bit of no-stick spray, just to keep them from sticking to the bottom as they kind of cool down a little, and it'll help them from sticking to each other, because if you leave it in the strainer, it's going to turn into just a big gummy mess. So pull them out, and that way they can sit here until you're ready to assemble. And now I am going to drain and squeeze out the water of my spinach. So the meat's done, and it's browned. I see there is no fat left in the bottom, but drain yours if you're using a fattier meat. And now would be the time that I would usually add the mushrooms, but something was wrong with my mushrooms. They were still firm, and they were still pretty and clean looking, but they had this funky smell, and I'd rather be safe than sorry, so out they went. But I'm going to add my drained spinach, turn the heat off my pan, because I'm going to use this to make the filling. And I'm going to add ricotta cheese, and I don't want it to like cook the cheese as I'm trying to fill it, so I'm just going to let this heat the spinach so it's not so clumpy, and let the pan cool just a little bit. So I was getting ready to open my jar of what says marinara. Do you see this? This is salsa. This is not marinara. I don't know how it happened. I don't know. Today's not my day. A mislabeled jar. My mushrooms were bad, and I have no Parmesan cheese. Luckily, I have some tomato sauce in the pantry that I just keep kind of on standby because it's my favorite can/jar salsa. So I have that. I don't know how this happened. This is mutiny. I don't know what in the world's going on in my kitchen. Anyway, my meat is done. I'm going to add a little bit of Italian seasoning just to kind of flavor it, and then I'm going to add my ricotta, and this will be my filling. So my meat is brown. I added a little bit of extra salt and pepper because the spinach added in needs a little bit of seasoning. And I added about a teaspoon, maybe a teaspoon and a half of Italian seasoning. Just want to taste it to make sure that it tastes good. You want to taste the flavors, but you don't want it to be overpowering. So the spinach is easier to break up once the heat's just a little, because mine was still really cold. It wasn't frozen anymore, but it was still pretty cold. And the pan is cooled down just from me working this in and add my seasonings. So let me taste this, and I'm going to go ahead and get the ricotta. So I added the whole jar of ricotta cheese and sprinkled in quite a heavy hand of the Parmesan cheese. Like I said, I don't know how it happened. I don't have any fresh Parmesan, so I'm making do with the sprinkle, and I'm just going to mix this together and make sure you taste it. And if you don't like ricotta or don't want to use ricotta, and sometimes I don't use it, I make a bechamel sauce, the white sauce. And I will just stuff the manicotti with this, without the ricotta, just the meat and spinach and mushrooms when I use mushrooms. And then do the white sauce on top and then the red sauce on top of it. But I am out of cream as well. You can see it's time for me to go to the store. I am going to go ahead and just use the ricotta and make the filling like this. So I'm going to go get my manicotti stuff, and I just hold them with one hand and then use I have a little teaspoon that I use, and it's got a real long handle for like coffee, and that is what I'm going to use, and I'm going to stuff them. Get a Pyrex dish and make sure that you have it, greased as well. So they're all filled and topped with sauce. I'm going to sprinkle with cheese. I would normally use regular fresh grated Parmesan cheese, but working with what I got. Cover it with cheese, and I'm going to put it in the oven just until it's all bubbly and warmed through. There it is, all done. I just served it with some garlic bread and a side of roasted broccoli. Hope you enjoy.